Welcome to the BFL brand. I assume I'm speaking to my employees, my reps, my potential employees. Essentially, I'm talking to my family. What I have to say to you is not to be repeated, not because it's confidential, but because if you talk about it, you're just another salesman. If you live it, you're the BFL brand. So what is living the brand? Living the brand is a series of different parts of the same value chain. And if we were to look at the value chain, we're talking about the brand promise, which is actually the customer experience, which will result in the business performance and how the customer views us at the end of a project. What is a brand promise? What you say and what you do combined builds a brand promise. If you only say something but don't do it, we're lipstick on a gorilla. We, BFL, we're not lipstick on a gorilla. How do we arrive at a brand promise? Look, this isn't just about someone sitting in an ivory tower building a brand for BFL. This is about us knowing ourselves. We engaged with Landor, one of the best branding firms in the world, to arrive at our brand. We talked about our industry, we talked about our customers, we talked about our competition, and most important, we talked about ourselves. This is how we arrived at our brand promise. Small hydropower has more relevance to the world today than it ever did. The world is going greener, and we're as green as it comes. For us, the focus on small hydro is going to be extremely important, and I trust you will agree with me by the end of this presentation. But the opportunity for us in the here and now is based on our pedigree. We have some of the best technology the world has to offer. We have more hydropower plants in operation than most any other company in the world. And the last 25 years, our focus on hydro, which has been coupled with our understanding of our customers and the relationship we've built, has brought us up to this point. The opportunity going forward is abundant if we can just do the right things. Now, who is BFL's average customer? They are high net worth individuals. They are people with a lot of personal power in that region so that they can get their licenses, their clearances, and their funding. But they're not really experts in small hydro. They're people who know how to go about developing a power plant, but not necessarily building a power plant. Now, what does a customer want from us? Value for money and a quality product are minimum hygiene levels. You can't be in this business if you don't offer that. What the customer is really looking for is peace of mind. He should be able to go to sleep at night knowing that he can trust BFL to build the plant for him without taking advantage of him in the process. As a quick aside, let's see what our competition is offering in terms of their value proposition. As you can see, most of our competition is dominated by blue brands. The color is one aspect, but what they're actually saying is that we're giving you a value for money proposition and sound engineering. Now, we at BFL know that it takes a whole lot more to build a hydropower plant than just this. This is just hygiene factor. The extra amount, what we do over and above this, is what defines BFL's value proposition. At this stage, I think it's important for us to see where we are today and where we would like to be tomorrow. Of this list, it's important that we focus on 3 points. First, follow the rules versus setting the rules. Let me give you an example of BFL 10 years ago. We had competition who was much larger than us that focused on giving suppliers credit to the customer. But for BFL, we couldn't afford to do that because we didn't have the working capital to do so. So what did we do? We went to the customer with a better value proposition in terms of pricing, delivery, and of course, relationship. And then we said to the customer, to do this well, we need money from you upfront. Today, the whole market follows the same no credit policy, and BFL is the leader in the domestic market, which leads me into my second point. The second point talks about being sincere, hardworking, and pushovers as against being sincere, hardworking, and dynamic. Look, relationship means a fine balance. This is not about doing everything the customer asks you to do. This is about getting a win-win situation with the customer, keeping in mind everything that he needs and all that you need too. I think this is best illustrated by an example. We had a customer who had given us an order and was meant to open an LC. This was for a project outside India. The customer came to us about 3 months into the project and said, that he was not able to open the LC, but he would like us to continue with the work. Mind you, these are custom-made equipments, which if this customer did not lift, we would have to sit on for the rest of our lives. But this customer said to us, look, I will open the LC by the time your goods are ready. Please be kind enough to go ahead with the order and not hold this project up. And based on our discretion and our understanding of the customer's sincerity, we went ahead and did that. When the goods were ready, the customer was still not able to open the LC. It took us another 6 months after the goods were ready on an order that was more than $3 million for us to finally ship the goods. The payment terms were that we would get 90% of the payment against shipment and 10% of the payment against receipt of goods at the customer's port. When we went to the customer and said to him, look, we've now held these goods for close to 7 months, we've worked on trust, and we've built these goods without having guaranteed payment from you. I don't think that now you need to keep our 10% until the goods reach site. The customer says to us, I'm very sorry, the contract says 10% against the goods reaching site. That's what we're going to do. That's not relationship. It's important that we show trust to the customer and the customer shows trust to us. The third point that we have to focus on in this list is decentralized brand ownership versus centralized brand ownership. Look, in the early 90s, or even the late 90s for that matter, BFL was building projects in India, and I knew every one of my customers, I knew every one of my suppliers. BFL's top management covered every stakeholder in this business: bankers, customers, suppliers. Today, when we're building 60 projects across the world, starting in South America, ending in Australia, we can't know everyone. Our branch office in Guatemala, our sales rep in Turkey, our manufacturing facility in Bangalore, our service rep in Southeast Asia. Every one of us has to live this brand, and that's how we're going to get customers to understand what BFL truly represents. As part of our introspection exercise with Landor to understand what our brand really means, we've looked at the qualities that we have that we need to keep, the qualities that we have that we need to lose, and the qualities that we don't have but which we need to take us to the next level. So we call that the quality that we want to add. Basically, I'd like you to focus on 1 or 2 different points here. We talk about passion. Guys, what is passion? Passion is the inner energy that drives you to build a good power plant for your customer, to put yourself in the customer's shoes and understand all the problems that he faces in building this power plant and ensuring that we are here to assist him, not to form roadblocks, not to give him more problems, but to assist him in building this power plant. But if you look at all the things that we are talking about in keeping, there's that non-contractual. We're talking about being able to recognize that a legal document is not the basis of a good partnership. We have to be able to move away from what the contract says in letter and recognize what the contract says in spirit. Let me give you an example. We had a customer who had bought a total of 6 generators and turbine sets from us. In each of these generators, we found that there was a problem with the bearings, and right after, immediately after the warranty ended, the generators failed. We went to this customer and we said, look, we recognize that we're outside warranty, but this product is supposed to last for 30 years. It makes no difference to us that the contract is no longer binding on us to replace your machines or repair your machines. We're going to do what it takes. Now, mind you, this is not just us telling the customer that. We got our supplier also to assist us. The supplier ended up fixing all 6 machines free of cost to the customer and making a spare generator which he kept for 1 whole year until these products were proven, so that the customer had peace of mind that this product is going to work for the next 30 years. That's what I mean by being non-contractual. Another example. You'll notice in the keep and the lose, in the keep we've written quality product. In the lose, we've written bad workmanship. Building a quality product and having passion for it doesn't mean a product that only works. It means the ability to build a product that works well, looks good, and doesn't have any minor defects, which may not affect the performance of the unit, but will definitely form an irritant. The ability to build a product like that is the ability for you to live our brand. The challenge going forward is to get everyone in our universe, our customers, our suppliers, our reps, our potential employees, our existing employees who come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different languages, different philosophies to business and life to represent us as who we are. And the one term that I think represents it well, who we really are, is the good guys. The good guys is a combination of technical competence and nice people to work with. Technical competence in itself just makes us a sound engineering company. Nice people to work with just make us reasonable folk. But the combination of the two is synergy. That's what makes us BFL. What you're seeing right now is our statement of relevant differentiation. This is the Bible, the Gita, the Quran for BFL. But it's a written statement that's being used to remind you of what we are. What's most important is to understand the context in which this has been written. Think about it this way. If a customer is building a 10 megawatt power plant, chances are it's costing him about $15 million. Our order as BFL is anywhere between 4 and 5 million. Let's assume the customer has given us the first 20% down payment, which is about $1 million. He spent another $2 million through the course of the project buying our equipment. He spent another $8 million on the civil works. At that point in time, if BFL or any equipment supplier chooses to start twisting his arm, he can do it very easily. He can just go to a customer and say, look, you asked for this. You don't know hydro that well. As it turns out, your site now requires this. This is the extra amount of money we need. We need another $1.5 million, failing which we cannot work. What's the customer going to do? He spent 10 to 12 million. He's got his banks breathing down his neck to make interest payments and principal payments. And at that point in time, he's left with no option but to pay you the $1.5 million. This is something BFL never does. We want to see how we can build a good project. And if we have to take a cut in our margins, or we have to find a way to build the project within the customer's originally envisaged budget, in spite of something having gone wrong. And let me tell you, in our experience of 25 years, every project has had some reason for delay or something that has gone wrong. That's what we mean by being the good guys. That's what we're talking about in the ability to tell a customer, look, we recognize that there is an extra cost, but let's find out how we can work this out and make this work for both of us. The goodwill that you earn from a customer will far outweigh any margins that you give up on any given transaction. Remember, we're not here to do a transaction. We're here to build a relationship and earn goodwill which lasts us a lifetime. That's what's built BFL up to this point. That's what's going to build BFL to the next level. So if we say we have to behave like the good guys, what are the 4 attributes that will allow us to know that we are behaving like the good guys? Let's look at it in this manner. We have relationship matters, we have empathy, we have flexibility, and we have simplicity. If you were to view your entire decision-making process through this lens, you know that you're being the good guys. Let's understand in this context, no 2 hydropower plants are the same. You're not building in a city, you're building in the jungles. Chances are you have a hill on one side, running water on the other. Things are going to change. You have to show that you value the relationship with the customer. You have to put yourself in the customer's shoes. You have to make sure that you understand what he's going through. You have to be simple in your solution, and you have to be flexible to what the customer really needs. Because a customer doesn't have control over everything that goes into building this power plant. If you do these 4 things, you're being the good guys. If you do these 4 things, you're being the BFL brand. We've all heard that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now for you, you've seen everything we've said, you've heard everything I've said. But what we really need to do is show you what we are if we were a picture. What you see here are 9 pictures, which is a visual representation of what BFL really is. And I'd like to focus on 3 specific pictures. First, look at this team of cricket players. For some of my counterparts and partners in other countries, cricket is a very big game here in India, and it's a team sport. Just as building a power plant or working in BFL is a team sport. If the marketing man doesn't sell the project right, sets expectation levels differently, the customer is going to be disappointed. If a designer has designed the plant wrong, you're going to find problems in manufacturing, problems in the end commissioned product. If the procurement man doesn't procure the items as per spec or on time, a project gets delayed. If the site services man goes to site and installs the project wrong, the project fails. Any one link in this chain can break the whole project up. We're a team, and we have to be acting as one through the whole course of the project. The second picture is one I love. It's a picture of two dolphins. Ladies and gentlemen, the dolphin is an animal that can protect itself, but it doesn't hurt others. Just because we may be dealing with sharks sometimes doesn't mean we change who we are. 9 out of 10 times, if we find we're dealing with sharks, we would prefer not to deal with them, but we would like to be dolphins on our own. Think about it this way. We had a customer who had built a project, and after the project was commissioned, the gearbox failed. The customer called the supplier up directly and asked him to fix the product. The supplier quoted an exorbitant rate to fix it. When the customer came to us and informed us, we went to that supplier who was behaving like a shark with the customer, and we said, look, this is not what we expect. You're making a product for BFL. We're the good guys. Please work in a manner as a team that represents who we are. The supplier ended up fixing the product free of cost for the customer. Now, this is what it means to be a dolphin. We protected the customer's interest, we protected our interest, and we made the supplier who was behaving like a shark behave like a dolphin, where he protected the customer's interests too. The third picture that we're looking at is that of a rural school teacher in India. Think about this. What does a teacher expect of a student? He expects the student to be diligent. He expects the student to be sincere. Beyond that, the teacher is there to help the student in any way he can to make the student successful. We are that teacher. We are here to partner our customers who are not experts in small hydro, work with them, and build a project so long as they are fair to us. They being fair to us is all we're asking for, and we will ensure that we build them a quality project and we partner with them to build their business. When you build a small hydropower plant, you'll recognize that it's seldom about one big heroic act. There could be one act, but more often than not, it's about 1,000 small gestures that build your brand. When you think about it, all of these gestures fall under 4 major categories. Your communication, which is what you say. We've already discussed that. Your place. Now, your place isn't just your place of work as in your office or your place of manufacturing as in your plant. It's also, and most importantly, your site. When you leave your site, have you left it on brand? Does it have the look and feel of BFL and the BFL quality of work, the BFL way of life? 3, your products. Clearly, your products have to be of the quality that you need. I need to say no more about that. 4, your people. It's about all of us. Are we doing everything that's required to make the customer believe that BFL is the right partner? If you're doing that, and if you're living these 1,000 small gestures, you're going to earn the customer's goodwill. You're going to have won the customer's business. When I did this video, I had to apply makeup. Now, the makeup doesn't change who I am, but it makes me look better for all of you watching this video. Similarly, who we are in BFL is what has brought us up to this point, and what we want to enhance is who we are, which will take us to the next level. But the equivalent of the makeup is our brand identity. And I'd like you to have a look into what we were and what we are today. When you see our brand universe, I'd like you to notice that we have paid attention to every last detail here. From the color in our brand identity to the entire color palette that we use for every corporate communication we send out, the grid that we use on all documentation to ensure that they look standard, that they are standard, or for that matter, the crating in which we send our products. All of this is meant to be a visual reminder to you that we are going to act on brand, we are going to live our brand. So hearing this from me is important, but listening to our customers talk about it really validates the experience. Here's what some of our customers have to say.
Over the years, the way they've reached out to us, the way they've addressed our concerns. I mean, there were periods where we were struggling with cash flows, but Boving Forest, I think, had that trust in us, and thanks to that trust, they never were nitpicky about payments and stuff, because they knew we were good for our money. They trusted us, and thanks to that fact, over the years, the level of trust that I have in their equipment, in their people, in the word that they say is also very high. So because of that, people often ask me, would you do business with Boeing Forest in the future? And I always tell them, why shouldn't I?
BFL has always responded to our request for support, technical assistance. Changes happen as you go along through the project, which need to be integrated and checked with suppliers. So we've had a very good and positive relationship with BFL today. Now, during the operational phase of the project, our relationship with BFL is still maintained and still strong. We've had a couple of cases where there's been failure of components on control panels and so forth, where we required spare parts, where we required assistance from BFL post-commissioning. And in all cases, we can say that BFL has more than responded to our requirements. In one case, we've had an engineer here, which we know was required on other projects as well, for a couple of months until the problems were sorted out. So operationally, I would say our relationship with BFL is just as strong as during the construction and procurement process.
They're absolutely a great a bunch of guys to work with. We do very challenging projects in challenging terrains and challenging timelines, but all that is a pleasure, when you work with good people, and that's why I do business with BFL.
When we were a fledgling organization in small hydro, all we expected was to design and deliver a good product. 15 to 20 years hence, we have started to understand that relationships are what builds the business, and just designing a product is entry into the business. We are doing that now, and today we're a leader in our business. Going forward, what we need to do to become synonymous with small hydro across all platforms all over the world is to live this brand. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're going to expect of each other.